Peter Schweizer and Eric Eggers were filling in for Sean. Join the conversation, 1-800-941-7326. We've got a real badass that's coming on next, and you know him. Who's coming on?
Hey, thanks. Yeah, I know. I know you too. You know, I say, hey, Peter Schweizer, he's a real badass for an author. But the guy we're going to talk to on the other side of this break is Jay Collins. He's Lieutenant Governor of Florida. He's been called the Chuck Norris of politics, and not like in that Sidekicks movie where he played the karate instructor. This guy's like a real deal. You can't wait to hear his story. He's the guy that perp walked the illegal immigrant back from California. Hear his story and how Florida is leading on crime on this side of this break with Peter Schweizer. I'm Eric Eggers, in for Sean Handy. Talk to you in just a second.
Sean Hannity. The new Sean Hannity Show. More behind-the-scenes information on breaking news and more bold, inspired solutions for America.
Hello, America. It's Peter Schweizer, and that is Eric Eggers, and we're filling in for Sean today. We're with the Government Accountability Institute. We have a podcast, which you can find out about at thedrilldown.com, and you can join the conversation, 1-800-941-7326, 1-800-941-7326. We have a great guest now. We live in the Sunshine State, the great state of Florida. I've been here for 30-plus years. You were born here and raised here. New Lieutenant Governor appointed just a couple of weeks ago, Jay Collins, a real badass. Now, it's hard to think of politicians as being a badass.
Well, especially lieutenant governors, because it's like lieutenant governor is kind of like vice president, but worse.
Yeah,
you know, it's what do you actually do? Florida has been famous for not having one for an extended period of time. So that we have one, it was news a couple of weeks ago. But then when they picked the one they picked, it became even more newsworthy, and he's been to work quickly.
Yeah, so Jay Collins is a former Green Beret. He's been a state senator. He's introduced and passed great legislation that we're going to talk about. But we want to talk to him, first of all, about what's going on with regards to illegal immigration in the state of Florida and the initiatives that are taking place there. Lieutenant Governor Collins, how are you?
I'm doing well. Thank you for having me on today.
So tell us, we had this terrible tragedy in the Florida highway where 3 innocent people died. You had this migrant illegally in the country who took that incredible U-turn in traffic. 3 people died. You actually went and brought him back to the state of Florida to face justice. You essentially perp walked him off of the plane, and you said there's absolutely no leniency for what he did. Tell us why this issue is so important to you, and what are some of the tangible things that the state of Florida is doing that's different compared to a lot of other states around the country?
Well, hey, that's a great question. And let's just kind of start with where this thing all began. 3 innocent lives were ended early because of somebody who crossed over the California border in 2018 illegally, gamed the asylum system in a state that we know, frankly, cares more about illegal immigrants than they do Californians, American citizens, and certainly obviously don't care what happened in Florida to our people, but we do. So yes, absolutely. I had no faith, nor did the governor, to see that Gavin Newsom was going to follow along, do the right thing. So we went over there. We held a press conference. We talked about it. We made sure that everyone knew we were there. And then we made sure this guy got brought back. Because what I want our people to know is that our government is going to go over there. We're going to stand for them and make sure that somebody faces justice. Because what if that was your loved one? What if that was your neighbor, someone you knew, and they lost their life and they were playing the game with the asylum system, or in California or New Mexico or some other liberal state that just doesn't want to follow President Trump's agenda, Governor DeSantis' agenda, or frankly, just basic common sense. Somebody has to lead, and we are the conservative proving grounds of America, and that's what we did.
Now, you guys have been leading not just in terms of being aggressive to go retrieve this individual. The Wall Street Journal chronicled the efforts to deputize members of the Florida State Highway Patrol to be kind of the boots on the ground as part of the immigration enforcement. Obviously, there's been the alligator Alcatraz that's been, now they're fighting over it in court, but that's gotten a lot of headlines as well. Why is immigration such a big issue to your administration now?
Well, look, the American people made this completely clear. They want the illegal immigration problem taken care of. That was made clear when President Trump won with an overwhelming majority. And where are we at? Well, here in Florida, we take that seriously. We think that when the American people and Floridians say they want it taken care of, well, we're going to do that. Our 287G agreements, they lead the way across every state. You saw Alligator Alcatraz, as you mentioned, Deportation Depot. We're out there actively working with our highway patrol, our other law enforcement, because it's required for them to work with our federal assets to keep this thing moving forward. Ultimately, everything we do keeps our people safer. And I really wish other governors would step up and stand up for their people and do the same thing. How much better would our nation be if they took this opportunity with leadership by President Trump, pushed down to have the state support them? We can really make a difference and follow through on the exact same things we said we were going to do. That's what people want to see, and that's what leadership is all about.
And I know leadership's a very important issue to you, and it's weird, you're a lieutenant governor now, you've been in the legislature. For a politician or a bureaucrat, a tough day can be like back-to-back Teams meetings with an ornery IT department or something. But for you, I know as the state senator, you went to Israel when the Iran-Israel conflict was at its height, and you went there to try to rescue and help get people that were over there who might have been in harm's way back home to safety. Talk about that. What motivated you to do that? And what's that like? We've heard stories, but I know that was something that was very important to you and why you felt like you needed to do it.
And Eric, thank you for that. Look, I'm going to quote some of my liberal colleagues from California, right, who serve in the legislature and other roles. I don't identify as a politician. I identify as God-fearing, gun-loving, freedom-defending, bacon-eating, one-legged retired Green Beret. I mean, the leadership comes from the front. We put our people first, and you got to put your money and your butt where your mouth is. So that's what we did. I flew to Israel because what if that was my loved one? What if my children, my wife, were trapped in a country with Iran shooting ballistic missiles at them? I would hope and pray that our leadership stood up and did that. And I love how the Trump team, how President Trump has pushed down emergencies to the states. This was an emergency. He has clearly said the states should step up and lead. And that's what we did. We partnered with them. We worked beside them. And ultimately, we brought them back right here to Florida. And it wasn't just Floridians. We brought back over 2,300 American citizens that are safer, got to see their families because we took the opportunity given us to step up and fight for our people and bring them home. How many more could we have brought back if other governors would have done the right thing and stood up for their people the same way?
Well, Lieutenant Governor, you were there, and it was a war zone. So I have to tell you, I've never been in a war zone. I don't want to be in a war zone. What does a missile actually sound like? What does it feel like to be in a situation where missiles are being fired at the location where you happen to be?
Well, I'll tell you, this is kind of like an old pair of boots. I got to be honest. When I tell you I didn't want to run for politics or get involved in politics, I really meant that. I'm here because I saw no other way to solve problems. I believe in making a difference for our people, and you can't stand on the sideline. We are just at that point in life. And I've been shot at, and I've been shot by a couple of things. This is my first time with ballistic missiles. We're scared. The noise they make coming across the sky is unlike anything I'd seen. The explosions are pretty amazing. We had some land within a few hundred feet of us with heat going everywhere. Luckily in Israel, there were bunkers and bomb shelters. So we got people in there, but the risk is very real. We were out there with a group of people just trying to get them on the buses to drive to the Jordanian border. And we had a bunch of Iranian missiles start hitting the ground around us. So mid-stride, we had to get them in the bunker, get safe. And I'm popping up, checking to see, are we done? What's going on? Get updates. And they're still coming. The barrage was real. But you know what? We did what we had to do because after it was done, we dusted off. We collected our stuff. We got back on mission. We got them on a bus. And we got them back to America safely with their families. Because again, that's the kind of leadership we need to have in this country. People are tired of politicians who say one thing and do another. I want to be, and I have been, as a leader, someone who says what I mean what I say, and I follow it up with actions. That's the American way.
So some of your actions are, in my opinion, Lieutenant Governor Collins, among the more interesting and important parts of your story. And if you're just joining in, if you're not sure whose voice that is, that's Lieutenant Governor Jay Collins. He's only on the job as Lieutenant Governor under Ron DeSantis for a couple of weeks. He was in the state legislature before that. But your story, you were a Green Beret, you're in Afghanistan, you were part of a firefight, and you suffered an injury that ultimately led to the loss of your leg. And not to focus on, because you're the one that said you're a one-legged Green Beret, but it's not like it was instantaneous. Just talk a little bit about the process that ultimately led you to make this incredible decision. You chose to have your leg amputated, and then talk about what happened to you after that.
So I did. I had been hurt in 2007, and it was kind of a rough year. I got shot, ended up doing surgery on myself in Afghanistan. I did a fasciotomy on my arm, saved my arm, but I do have two arms and one leg, so I did okay. I'm pretty comfortable with that one. And then later on, I got hit by a mortar when they were trying to overrun our fire base. And again, apparently getting blown up is bad for you. Who knew, right? I didn't know what had happened, because when you're fighting for your life, you fight for your life. If it's a no-fail mission, you don't fail. So we fought, and we won, and we pushed the enemy out, and didn't really realize how badly I've been hurt. You know, I had a headache, dusted it off, got happy and healthy, and just did what we had to do. But as time went on, it was a very insidious breakdown of my leg. Eventually, I started having weird pains, and my leg, I would want it to go left, and it wouldn't go left. It would go right, or it would not work at all, and I'd trip and fall. And, you know, it was hard to understand, because I had been in a very select group of people where my physicality was really how I did things and how I got by. And, you know, Eric, you've heard me say this many times, man. God's plan is so much bigger than our plan. All I wanted to do was be a Green Beret or fight amongst the very select people at the tip of the spear doing things for our country nobody knew about. But that wasn't God's plan. I got injured, and I had to learn to use other skills and accept help and get up in a new way, and that's what I had to do. So over the next 6.5 years or so, I went through a slow manifestation of my leg dying. I went through multiple surgeries and multiple exams and a lot of misdiagnosis before they figured out what was going on. And in 2014, they cut my leg off. And about a year later, I requalified as a Green Beret. I was found fully fit for duty, and I had to earn my place back in our tribe, because in that regiment, and as a Green Beret, there's only one standard. And I got to say, I am so grateful for the people who gave me the opportunity to prove myself, because I didn't want it given. I had to earn it. And anything of value, you have to earn. And again, so grateful that people gave me the chance to do that, because, again, there's some culpability with me as well. I should have taken a knee, and I should have faced out. I should have realized that when things hurt and they didn't work, maybe I should quit. But when you reach a pinnacle of an organization like these, the last thing you want to do is leave and not fight beside your brother, not fight beside the people who you would give your life for in an instant. And I didn't want that to happen.
Lieutenant Governor Jay Collins, it's great to have you on. We've got 30 seconds left. I want to ask you, are you going to run for governor of the state of Florida?
Well, I'll tell you what, I think we're going on 2 weeks now. That's a great question. I am trying to be the best lieutenant governor I can be for the GOAT, for America's Governor Ron DeSantis. Finally getting my foot wet, the other one too, and trying to make a difference. We'll continue to assess, but in the end, I'm really hyper-focused on my job as lieutenant governor right now.
Well, as we said, a true badass for Lieutenant Governor of the state of Florida. Jay Collins, thanks for joining us. We appreciate you in the audience listening as well. We will be back in a minute. We've got more guests. We've got more conversation. The next hour, we're going to have, at the bottom of that hour, an NFL legend. So please stay tuned.